heard while in the Queen's arms. My father was blessed with enlightened parents. His mother in particular thought that children should not only be seen and very much heard, but that they should also be exposed to new ideas and the classics. She kept meticulous records of the books she read, and was always keen to try new experiences. Passionate about cartography, she worked for many years on a detailed geological map of Malta, participated in archaeological digs, and rather daringly, scooping up my father to provide the required extra weight, flew in a Zeppelin airship and a very early model of a biplane, even though, as she said, it was not made to carry passengers, and we perched securely on a little stool holding on to the flyer's back. Coming from a line of progressive thinkers, she taught my father herself until he was 10 years old, gifting him an education that was thorough and polymathic. She taught him to be open-minded, methodical, and thorough, and above all encouraged him to enjoy learning, to inquire. Later, when I got to know my grandmother, I could see how entirely free of prejudice she was, how interested she was in all that was around her, and just how much of an influence she had had on my father's refreshing way of viewing the world. She was to be an inspiring force in my life. A month before his 10th birthday, my father was sent to Lockers Park Prep School in Hertfordshire, and 2 years later he entered the Royal Naval College at Osborne. As war became inevitable, at the beginning of 1914, his German-born father was forced to retire from the Admiralty as First Sea Lord because of the anti-German hysteria at large in the country, scurrilous newspaper headlines whipping people up into a frenzy of hatred. My grandfather resigned, even though the Navy was solidly behind him, and this episode had a profound effect on my father, who vowed to succeed to the position of his wronged father. Then, during the war, when King George V decreed that the royal family should anglicise their name, choosing Windsor, my grandfather changed his from Battenberg to Mountbatten. The king created him the Marquess of Milford Haven, having offered him the title of Duke, but, practical to the last, and looking around him at the grandeur of the English nobility, he calculated that as his savings had been decimated in the German economic downturn, he simply didn't have the wealth that would be expected of him with that rank. An English duke had to maintain a grand style of life. My father also ceased to be the younger Prince Louis of Battenberg, and received the courtesy title of Lord Louis Mountbatten. During the First World War, my father joined Lord Beatty's flagship, HMS Lion, as a midshipman, and later he was appointed First Lieutenant of a small ship, HMS P-31, and for a time, aged only 18, he found himself in command of a crew of 60. Through Princess Mary, my father contrived that King George V should come on board during the peace pageant on the Thames. He saluted smartly as the monarch came aboard. "Hello, Dickie," said the king jovially. "How's Chicken Bella?" The fact that his sovereign remembered the stupid doll he had had as a 2-year-old mortified the 19-year-old second-in-command and exposed him to remorseless teasing. The Admiralty now sent the war babies, who had been unable to complete their education, to Cambridge University, and my father went with both Prince Albert and Prince Henry. They all led a wildly social life, falling in and out of love between studying. Tall with the good looks of a Hollywood film star, my father was very much in demand. He was also in demand from the royal household, accompanying the Prince of Wales, the future King Edward VIII, as his personal aide-de-camp on tours including Australia and later India and Japan. Grace Kelly once confided that she had always kept a photograph of my father before she met Prince Rainier. Mrs. Cornelius Vanderbilt, a fiercely rich American society hostess, nicknamed the Kingfisher for her relentless cultivation of European loyalty, singled my father out as the perfect suitor for her only daughter. When she invited him to a tea party on her yacht off Cowes,